Akira.
Akira. The yeah,
This movie
Akira.
from the 80s.
Yeah, it was a
So
manga first.
I
Uh,
watched it yesterday, the movie.
yeah,
I mean, it's quite a switch, right? To switch back to a movie, an animated, a drawn movie from the 80s.
yeah,
I mean, the pacing was so different. Effects, they and the backgrounds, they look so amazing. So much more like arts,
yep. It's
especially
pretty
the
crazy.
background.
Yeah,
For that time, even the
yeah,
effects, right? Like explosions, the yeah,
yeah.
how
It's
the
pretty crazy.
transformations,
Yeah, it's really crazy.
so insane, and there's a lot of mindfuck in that movie as well.
Yes, like also, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's it's hard to describe and hard to it's like you can't really appreciate it unless you've seen it, and people just talk about
Yeah,
Akira, but like you when you see it, it's like holy shit, they actually did this thing back then, and the funny thing is that back then the Japanese anime industry had a kind of inferiority complex when it came to Disney movies. Because I remember watching interviews from for another movie from the same era, Project Ako, that had similar kind of things to it, and they were talking about like, oh, how does this compare to Disney? They're like, oh man, Disney, no way, there's no way, Disney, oh, I can't believe it. You compare us to Disney, that kind of stuff, and I'm
oh,
looking
by
at
the way,
yeah,
I think Akira is now available at the Disney Plus channel.
really, Disney Plus, is it?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, did they license it? Because I know it's on Netflix. I know it's on Netflix.
Oh,
But yeah. But anyways, these Japanese people had it's like this whole inferiority complex with with Disney, and but they were making things that Disney would never even dream of, and like Akira isn't even the pinnacle of that era. That's the golden age of anime, they call it. Akira was like
yeah.
one of the last of the golden age anime, but the very last is the 5-star stories from Mamoru Nagano. That one, like, holy shit. When you see that shit animated, it's like, how is this possible? It came after, it's like, came 2 years after Akira. And it was the last really big project from the golden era of anime. And it's like, what the heck, man? It's unbelievable. It's how there's like this lost technology. It's like the mask is steel. The mask is steel. People, we lost the ability to make the mask is steel for like 1,000 years or whatever it was, until they rediscovered it in like the 18th century or something like that. It's like that. It's like you would have like, when it comes to Damascus steel, you had like all these old swords that are made with this really crazy high quality steel and really weird pattern, and they were like, how is this possible? How is it? And the art was just lost. That's how it feels when looking at these old anime, these old shows are from that era. It's
Yeah.
like mind blowing.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So for the people who haven't watched Akira, I would like to give a short summary of my perception
yeah,
of the movie.
yeah,
So it started with some biker gangs, right?
yeah. For the
They're
record,
setting up.
I'm a lifelong fan of this movie. I have T-shirts. I have several art books. I have the entire manga collection. I have the movie in DVD and a VHS, and I think I have a Blu-ray, but I'm not sure. I
And you forget. Don't forget the most important one.
And
Don't forget the
thanks to
most important one.
GU, I have a signed drawing from Katsuhiro Otomo,
Oh yeah.
for the creator and artist of the Akira manga. So I am a massive fan. So just for the record, and to set the tone. So go ahead. you know.
Okay, so again, my perception of the movie. I recently watched it again, and so it starts with a bunch of bikers, two biker gangs just fighting. Okay, cool. But one of the protagonist biker gangs, he he got lost, and it feels like he found something. It went actually quite quick for in my opinion, but he ended up in a research facility. Anyway,
Yeah.
he got some special powers.
Yeah.
What do you call it? Telekinetic, psychic powers,
Yeah. It's a bit more
kind of.
nuanced, but sure. Okay.
Yeah.
That's how it looks, what it looks like, anyways.
He gets overwhelmed by this power.
Yeah.
He his body's taken over by this power, and yeah, the government instance and his friends are trying to defeat him. Everything, all this whole story is playing in a cyberpunk setting in
Yeah.
Tokyo after a third world war.
Yep.
So you see like interesting atmosphere, as in special bikes, clothings, the way you see the police, the same way you see it back in Cyberpunk game.
Hmm. Yep.
Is that in a nutshell storyline of Akira?
Yeah, that's like the surface level thing about the show or the film. Yeah, it is a cyberpunk story, but the interesting thing is it's not a cyberpunk story in the William Gibson sense, in the Blade Runner sense, because there are no robotics, there's no cybernetics. They don't have those in this world.
Well,
There's no net.
yeah, okay, sure, but the bad guy, he bad guy, the big monster guy, he eventually get a prosthetic arm, which
Yeah,
looks
but
like
he built
cybernetic
that
arm.
himself out of his
Yeah.
powers. That's not a technological device that exists in this world. You know, the it's not your classic cyberpunk. This is a funny thing. Akira is both a classic cyberpunk movie, but it's not a classic cyberpunk story, and it's not a classic cyberpunk movie at the same time. Because, like I said, there's no cybernetics, there's no network, there's no AI, there's no like diving into the computer. There is a like Big Brother, the state, uh, but it's the entire thing is crumbling. They actually have no power. The state is trying to retain its power, you know, but it's failing at that. It's
In, A- in
completely
Akira.
different than any other cyberpunk story where there is a massive power imbalance between the corpos or the state and the protagonist. And here, the in the end, the protagonists here are the ones that solve the issue, and it's not the state or the overwhelming force of whichever third party there is, like in, for example, in Neuromancer, where our main guy is not necessarily the one that solves the issue, or like in Ghost in the Shell, where the main Motoko Kusanagi is not necessarily the one that solves the issue, and there is also not an issue. The only issue that is solved in Ghost in the Shell is more internal, and it's not an actually external issue. Well, there is one thing with the whole stopping the puppet master thing, but that's like a subplot. That's not even a thing. So it's like in all these cyberpunk movies and stories, the state or the corpos always win. They always survive and win in some kind of way. In Akira, they don't. They don't.
But I
Yeah.
but in my perception, the this corpo or the government, they were present,
They were present. Yeah.
but not as present as you know as portrayed
It's
in
a failing government. It's a failing government with massive corruption. I mean, at one part you even see the main guy, the governor, has a like a heart attack in the street. You know, when he's like trying to escape with all his money and his papers or whatever. You know. Oh, by the way, this is a spoiler discussion, so whatever. If I mean, if you didn't figure it out, but it's a spoiler discussion. But I mean, the governor guy is a main minor character anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, it's like the government is failing. The only one that can do something is the military, which is actually the main the main thing of Akira, the main criticism of Akira. It's a cyberpunk story that is actually uh, criticizing the past, and it's not really necessarily talking about some kind of future societal issues that happens through technology, which is what most cyberpunk is. Most cyberpunk is about like how humans use technology to do whatever they need to do to survive. That's basically what cyberpunk is. Akira is not that. You know, Akira is these guys on the street, these street punks. They don't know shit about technology. I mean, they know shit about bikes. That's all they know. They're like gearheads. They're just they just like to ride bikes and fight with their fists, and that's it. They don't know anything. Nobody's hacking in this show, in this movie. Nobody's doing any of that. There's like literally no hacking scene in any of it. You know, and the most technological thing we see is that crazy scientist running his experiments. You know, and that's it. You know,
And about that, what is this is also like a trend, right? As
yeah,
in Akira, you see this research facility by the government with a mad scientist, and then
yeah,
there are some kids. They are the experiments to try and practice their psychic telekinetic powers.
yeah, yeah.
And this is trend as well, right? I mean, did you watch Stranger Things?
Yes, I did. Yeah, that's a
I
classic
mean,
trope. Yeah,
it's classic. What?
that's a classic trope. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure. I'm now that I think about it, I'm almost certain Akira was one of the first ones to do the whole experimenting on kids for powers thing. I don't remember seeing it any earlier. So and it's I mean it's fairly similar to when you look at Stranger Things, you see what they look like when they're like at the facility. It's like Akira.
Yeah.
It's like literally the same. It's pretty uncanny,
Yeah.
how they're all shaved, you know.
And there
It's
are
you
other
know
media things like that as well. As in, I don't know if you know this video game, Beyond Two Souls.
I know about it. I've never seen it. The research facility, yeah, that's in that game.
Yeah, with the kids, with telekinetic powers.
Yeah,
So, where does this trend come from? Why do you think he used that in Akira?
I think um I think it's um I think it's more like a what do you call it? The I think what he's trying to do is because of his politics that he's using kids as a sort of how the government abuses the populace, and people lose their innocence because of from when dealing with the government, and the government abuses the innocence of the population to for its own goals and whatnot.
As a weapon.
Yeah, exactly, as a weapon or anything to the government tries to maintain power behind the backs of the people. That's one of the main criticisms Akira is leveraging. It's is levying against the government because Akira is mostly a criticism of the post-war Japanese government and its policies. Post World War
Which
II,
policy? Which policies?
the allowing the Americans to occupy the country for 10 years, changing the constitution of the country, reducing the power and effectiveness of the government, taking away the kind of like the children are the allegory for the I don't know if they call it that, but there's this idea of like the that Japan is because all the important knowledgeable people were killed during the war or because of the government, that Japan is a country of infants. That they're just a bunch of children that have that the head was cut off, and they had to all these children had to grow up to lead the country, but the government failed them. That kind of stuff. Those kinds of things are in there because this is also the one of the main criticisms of the government of the Japanese government from the 1960s and 1950s student protests in Japan. And Katsuhiro Otomo is the perfect age to be influenced by that scene. Just like Mamoru Oshii, the director of Ghost in the Shell, he was also influenced. He was also part of one of the students that was protesting in the 60s. Actually, now that I think about it, I think Katsuhiro Otomo might be a bit too young, but he's still influenced by that because Akira is completely about post-war Japan after the nuclear attack and how the country was destroyed. Because I mean, that's what. If it wasn't clear enough, the movie starts with basically a nuclear bomb destroying the city. I mean, come on, it's like, yeah, that's basically what it is, you know. So the crumbling government in the wake of the war, that kind of stuff, you know. So that's pretty much that's how Akira kind of sets itself apart from the other cyberpunk stories, where it's mostly a criticism of the government of the past. It's a criticism. It's not like, oh, how will people act when they have cybernetic arms, and what kind of things will companies do to reduce our freedoms and whatever when they have these technologies, and that kind of stuff. It's none of that. It's literally criticism of the government of Japan in the past. You know, it's a
What do you think the symbolism is of the guy, bad guy, like losing it, going in bunkers with his powers, getting overwhelmed?
that's the Tetsuo Shima, going insane and losing everything. Yeah, I think that is pretty much like adolescence just going nuts and rebelling against everything and trying to and just destroying everything around it. I think that's what it means. When kids they start rebelling and they start like lashing out and like getting angry at everything. He even says it in the he even says it in the when he's like transforming into the giant blob baby. I think that's what they call it.
Yeah.
The blob. He says, I'm angry" or something like that. He says, a few times.
Hmm.
You know, so it's like an adolescent rage. That's what it is at the
Because,
situation.
and I also remember that they specifically, repeatedly, he really hated it when the protagonist, uh, Canada,
Yeah, Kaneda.
is coming there to save him.
Yeah,
It was really, they really made a few scenes about it.
yeah,
Like, hey, Tetsuo, I'm here to save you.
yeah,
A
yeah,
couple of times, and then him and the Tetsuo telling him, no, I hated it. Well,
yeah. I mean,
I hated that you saved me. I can do it myself.
yeah. I mean, if you've ever dealt with a teenage boy, that's like literally what it is. That kind of stuff. It's like it's a symbolism of adolescent rage, impotent adolescent rage as well, because adolescent rage, you can't do shit with it. You're some kid. Nobody cares. Nobody. You get mad, lash out at people. Nobody's gonna pay attention to you. Nobody cares about what you're saying, what you're doing. So that's pretty much what happened there. I mean, in the when he's at his most powerful, he's at his weakest, completely and utterly weak.
He finally called for help.
Yeah, because all he can do is just scream and rage, and that's it. You know, and that's it. And there's nothing.
Yeah.
He has the most power he's ever had in his life, but all he can do is just scream and rage, and
Yeah.
that's like the symbol of the Japanese youth in the 60s and the 50s, that the government was completely inept. The occupation was happening. They were running the show. The military industrial complex was all over the place. You couldn't escape, and all you could do is just rage and just scream and shit, and that's all you could do. That's Akira. That out
But
of that,
then there
he made Akira.
Yeah. But then there were these three kids thingies who kind of suppressed the powers.
The other test subjects.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, they. Yeah, what you think about that?
Eerie in the first place.
Scary?
Because eerie.
Eerie. Oh,
Well, yeah,
eerie. Oh, yeah, eerie.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because like how they are portrayed, like kids, but very wrinkled and a different kind of color,
Yeah, I
and
always
they had
wonder about that.
telekinetic, and they had these telekinetic powers. I was just super confused about them. As in, I was trying to figure out at the moment I was watching the movie, like, okay, but who are these kids? Okay, they are test subjects, but who are these kids? They're suddenly
Yeah,
they're there.
yeah, yeah. It's the movie. Look, the movie is like a abbreviation of the entire manga series. The manga is like six massive volumes. They're like those are books that are like 3 centimeters thick each, something like that. So it's a massive manga, massive story, and there's a lot more said about the kids in the manga, and they spent. I mean, in the manga, Akira was walking around like a normal person. In the movie, Akira was like a bunch of bottles at the end of the facility. But in the manga, Akira showed up, like he was there.
I mean, you see pictures of Akira
You
as a
see
guy.
pictures, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But in the movie, that's
Still
it.
so
But
mysterious.
yeah, but in the manga, he's like actually a kid, and he's like a pretty immature kid as well. He's like throwing tantrums and shit, that kind of stuff.
But what does he? So does he have a bigger role in the manga?
Yeah. The chair Tetsuo sits on, Akira was sitting on there and was doing all his stuff, and like kind of like running.
What?
Yeah, was kind of like running the place. But it's been a while since I read the manga. I don't remember all the details of the manga, but there was a lot more time spent on the more spiritual side of the thing. You saw like the weird religious group that was like with this old
Oh yeah.
woman. That was like 5 seconds, and then they died or whatever. Dude, that is an entire book in the manga. They
Oh.
completely cut that entire story with the woman, the spiritual leader, and all that stuff. They would completely cut it. There's entire sections that are completely gone. You know, and
What was so special about this religious group?
they were actually part of they were actually part of the resistance to the government and the military industrial complex. So because the military is very prominent here, but that's also because post-war Japan, the military was like all over the place. and that's why the military is very prominent in Akira. But they were part of the rebel group that was trying to stop the military with doing whatever it's doing, you know, and trying to lead people into a new Japan, like rebuild the city, not rebuild it by the way the government or the military want, but the way the people want to rebuild it, that kind of stuff, you know. That's the kind of stuff they were doing. Um, at one point when Tetsuo gets taken by the military and Kaneda kind of goes his way, he gets entangled with these people, and they yeah, he starts doing stuff with them, and going on missions with them and that sort of kind of stuff. And
Oh, whoa.
yeah, at one point, this crazy thing happened. Like Kaneda gets zapped into like this. You saw it at the end of the movie when the building started floating around. Well, that caused Kaneda to like disappear for like a while. He kind of like disappeared for a bit, and then like the story went on with just Kay, the girl, Kay, Kay, the girl he
Yeah.
met. The story just went on with Kay and whatever she was
Yeah.
doing, and then it
Be-
suddenly Kaneda shows up again. That was funny.
yeah. I need to talk about that gay girl.
Yeah,
Because she was with some other guys, right? And
yeah, the resistance.
so it was a resistance group.
Yeah, yeah. There
It
were several.
was, yeah, because
Yeah, that was like the official resistance, because there's like the official resistance, but then there's like the religious guys, whatever. So yeah, go on.
yeah, so yeah, I was wondering because there was no story told about telling about this resistance group. They were suddenly there acting like a resistance group, but
Yeah, yeah.
no information.
Nope, nothing. They just what do you call it? They in the movie they just showed up, and the guy got blown
Yeah.
away at the start of the movie, and that was pretty much it. After that, we just went with Kay. Kay was kind of following Kaneda around, whatever, blah blah. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
not a lot of those storylines aren't really fleshed out in the movie, and it's been a while since I read the manga, so I don't remember exactly all the details of the resistance. But yeah, they were trying to stop the government and the military from doing whatever they were doing, and in the background they were working on all that stuff. The reason you saw those, like for example, when the and near the end, all those people showed up on the street, like kind of like running around behind Tetsuo. That was because
Yeah.
of the. That was also because of the religious people and the resistance. They could actually, all these people showed up for that. Um, they were kind of mobilized. So it's just so this whole thing in the manga that's not in the movie that was cut. The movie is really streamlined. They only focus mainly on Tetsuo and Kaneda, and they kind of cut out everything else, and they kind of like you know um, kept it to the very basics of the ideas in the in Akira. The very basics. You know. Yeah. Also, like the kids in the experimental thing. You saw how they were being babied. They had all these toys and stuff, and they were like grandparents. They were like elderly children. But that's also the whole idea, because um, the military and the government were infantilizing the population, acting like they were lost children that needed guidance from Big Brother and the military at the time in the 60s and 50s. So that's what that shows in Akira, that the children are symbol. Akira and Kyoka, or whatever his name is, and what was the other guy's name? Toma Tam, whatever, I forgot his name. The other kids, they were symbols of the infantilization of the Japanese population by the government. So that was that was a pretty good way to show it. But the funny thing is that Akira didn't age. That's because Akira is like the symbol of inner strength, and inner strength doesn't really age. You always have an inner strength, something like that. It's he's more of a abstract symbol of the will of the people to survive and to resist the oppression of the government. That's what Akira is more like.
Anyway, if you've watched this movie, Akira, please let us know what your analysis is of this movie. We are really curious about what your perception is.
Yeah,
Don't forget to like and subscribe to support us.
yeah,
So I need to go back to this telekinetic kids
yeah,
concept because it's used so much
yeah. It's
nowadays.
yeah, it is, and I really wonder where it came from. Now that you mentioned it like this, I actually never looked it up or checked out where it came from or what like what's going on with that. So
Even this
that's
movie, what is called about one girl, of course, Lucy or something.
yeah, Lucy. Yeah,
Yeah, Lucy, right? Yeah, which is also like remade once. That's it. Also has the same concept, right?
yeah, yeah, exactly. But Luc Besson did say the director of the movie, Luc Besson, he did say that I mean, he's a big anime fan, and he said it's based on those old anime and stuff like that, like Ghost in the Shell and stuff. So that's why it's similar. But yeah, it's I mean, a lot of these stories are performative. A lot of them are, and with that, by that I mean that they just kind of copy the visual without understanding or caring about the meaning behind it. Like
Right.
I mean,
Yeah, which is just yeah.
yeah, like in Lucy was more about the visuals and then the actual meaning behind, oh, why is it a girl or what is it, blah, 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 whatever. Akira, the children, using the children was a purposeful meaning behind it, and it was the symbolism is clear why the children were used. If you know the politics of Katsuhiro Otomo, of course, if you know what he's talking about, and the entire post-war Japan period, you can kind of see it all, how it all happened. But like, yeah, Stranger Things has no deeper meaning than, wow, look at the 80s, cool stuff, right? That's literally it. There's nothing beyond that for Stranger Things. So they just put the kid in the thing, in the experiment, and the kid is strong because what happened in the 80s? The 80s had a bunch of these 4 or 5 kids doing stuff movies, stuff like the Goonies or whatever, you name it, like or It, or what was that one with the train tracks? I forgot that name. Was that Lean on Me or some
Train
shit like that?
tracks.
Yeah, the 4 kids walking down the train tracks. It's like, you want to see a dead body, and it's like, oh, look at him there. Oh yeah, ooh.
Oh,
Which one was that? Was that Lean on Me? I think.
I need to know this one now.
What was that movie? I forgot. It's like a fork. It's yeah, but it's like I totally forgot the name of the movie. Yeah, but I mean, I also like the Goonies. You name it. There's a bunch of
Yeah, Stand by Me, by the
Stand
way.
by Me. Was it? I thought Lean on Me. It was Stand by Me. Yeah,
Yeah,
there a lot of these kinds of shows
yeah.
and movies with like kids doing whatever, and I mean, um, Stranger Things is not the first movie to do this. You had a few years ago. You had a few years before. I mean, you had the movie Super 8 from J.J. Abrams, which is basically it's basically a Spielberg movie that's not directed by Spielberg. It's basically an '80s Spielberg movie, not directed by Spielberg, with a bunch of kids. And I mean, also E.T. E.T. was also one of those movies, kid doing stuff, but there's something with aliens. So I mean, when you're making an '80s series about an '80s series about kids and stuff, it's logical to literally copy all those tropes, and that's it. That's literally how far it goes. So that they pick these tropes to show 80 stuff, it's not really surprising. It's actually pretty much expected, but they don't have any deeper meaning to it than just, wow, cool, remember the 80s, remember that, wow, check this out. That's basically it. I mean, Stranger Things is just a big nostalgia romp. there's no deeper meaning. They're not trying to say anything about like society, about like what happens if people get something like this, these kinds of powers. They're not really trying to say anything like that. It's just whatever, you know.
Mm. Back If we go back to Akira, what do you think Cyberpunk 2077 has is the most influenced by?
Akira,
Yeah.
the elevator when you go into what do you call it, into Phantom Liberty. At one point, you go down to the cynosure. If you take a certain route in the storyline, you go down to cynosure, in the depths of the city, and you take an exact copy of the elevator they took down to the Akira chamber, and it's exactly,
Oh,
and the cynosure capsule, or where they keep
yeah.
the AI, is literally the same thing that they keep where they kept
Wow.
where they kept Akira in the same ball thing, and you have to open it the same way, like you have to go up and it opens like that, whatever. It was pretty hilarious. I was like, wow, this is Akira, man. Look at it. I'm going down the elevator.
Wow.
I'm seeing the
Yeah.
cryo device where they kept Akira. It's all here.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I mean, that's like just an homage to Akira, of course. But beyond that, philosophically, both stories are completely different. They actually cover completely different things. So it's hard to say if there's anything similar in them beyond the visual, beyond the surface level, because Akira is commenting on a specific time in history. So it didn't really need like all the cybernetics and the net and all that stuff. I mean, I don't even know if the world of Akira has internet. I don't think it does. I don't even remember. I actually don't remember
Oh,
if in the manga anybody was like surfing the internet. I don't remember.
not in the movie.
Now it's not in the movie for sure, but I don't remember. Maybe it might have been in the, but I highly doubt it. I don't think so. But yeah, it's like Akira is doing specific commentary of a specific time period, which is not something you normally do in Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk is all about, like we said earlier, it's all about the corpos have all the power. What happens with that? Oh no, it's the corpos, they unleash the AIs on the internet. What happens? How do people react? That kind of stuff. Or high tech, low life. Oh, the human existence in a society that's crumbling. I mean, okay, that's one thing that they both have. The societies in Akira and Cyberpunk are basically crumbling. That is the similar thing, yeah. But because the technologies and what the humans have at their disposals are so different in both stories, they they're not similar beyond that. You can't say, oh, because they have cybernetics, they don't have cybernetics. So it's like, I mean, yeah, there's like protest. I mean, you have that in Cyberpunk as well. You get protests and whatever. Yeah, so it's very hard to compare both of them, because Akira stands out as a very unique story because of its political leanings, and specifically Japanese politics. It's a very, let me say it's a very left wing Japanese politics movie. Let me say it like that. It's very left wing. You know, so it's hard to say on that front, because, for example, Cyberpunk 2077 tends to stay in the middle. It doesn't choose a side politically. It just kind of presents the ideas. But Akira clearly chooses a side. It's a very left wing movie.
In what ways do you think so?
Well, all the criticisms is it's leveraging against the government, uh,
Right.
at the time, and against the military industrial complex. It's all very left wing policies that the movie has, and it's like at the time the government was very overreaching, and there was the military was everywhere, and right wing sentiment was very high, and so Akira is like fighting against those ideas, and presenting a society that is crumbling under those ideas. It's also funny because the movie ends with the sea coming in and taking and kind of flooding the what do you call it, the city. You remember that?
Hmm. Hmm.
And they ride kind of like ride off into the sunset, and the sun is coming out through the clouds. I mean,
Yeah.
if that's not symbolism, I don't know what is. That's literally symbolism. The sun is shining on the new future, that kind of stuff. But also
Yeah.
a bit more of a deep cut on the symbolism. It ends on the sea, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the other shore. The Buddhist concept of the other shore.
No, no, I don't.
It's a Buddhist concept where transcendence and what do you call it, and enlightenment is reached, and it's shown as a reaching the ocean. The ocean is a symbol of
Oh.
change, and you see the other shore used in a lot of Asian or Japanese stories. I'm mostly aware of Japanese stories, but a lot of Japanese stories and games have the other shore. For example, in Armored Core 6, where you have the true ending, because you have to play Armored Core 6 3 times before you have the true ending. It's like a parallel universe kind of thing that happens in that
Yeah.
game. But when you have the true ending, you end at the beach, and so you're at the other shore. The ending of Evangelion, Neon Genesis Evangelion, the last scene of Neon Genesis Evangelion, the movie, end of Evangelion, is Shinji and Asuka on the beach, the other shore, reaching transcendence. So you see
I
it a
re-
lot.
I remember Death Stranding.
Yeah, Death Stranding is also complete. Death Stranding is full of
I mean,
Buddhist stuff.
yeah, and Egyptian stuff, but yeah, definitely about death. So
Yeah. But like, for example, when you die in Death Stranding, I mean, even the name Death Stranding, that's
yeah,
like Buddhist. When you die in Death Stranding, have to go back. What you have to do is you have to grab the string that you're attached to. You have to kind of swim
yeah,
back up. That is literally the string, the red
yep,
string in Buddhism that gives you a second chance.
yep,
Or in Japanese folklore, at least, that gives you a second chance when you go down to
yeah,
hell. That. And exactly, a strand is a string. Death Stranding, again, the string that gives you a second chance at life, or a chance at redemption. That kind of stuff. You're at the strand at the beach, the other shore. The transcendence happens at the other shore. That kind of stuff. So it's full of all that. That symbolism is in a lot of places. The ending of Final Fantasy 16, when Clive finishes off everything. What?
whoa. No,
What?
16. I haven't played 16 yet.
Oh well,
Don't
I'm
spoil.
not saying anything,
Don't
but
spoil.
it's another other shores ending.
Okay.
So
Oh Lord.
it's
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Sorry about that, but it's another other shore. I mean, you don't know what's happening. All you know is it's another shore. So
Right.
it's a very pervasive philosophical idea, and how a lot of Japanese and Asian media end their stories. They often end it in the other shore. It's it's pretty insane. It's pretty crazy. And when you start seeing it, when you notice it, you start seeing it everywhere. Just pay attention.
Oh.
You see it everywhere. All these Japanese stories and whatever, and they all have it.
And and on this note,
Yeah.
I think it's a good ending for this episode.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank
Exactly.
you everybody for listening. Please support us by liking and subscribing. Let us know what you think in the comments below. We will hang out with you in the next episode.
Yep.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. See ya.